Today we pick up in Exodus chapter 4:18, and we'll read all the way through chapter 5. This morning I got a text from someone in the church, and they asked, what's the deal with Exodus chapter 4, verses 24 through 26? And you'll read that, and we see how the Lord confronts Moses to kill him because Moses didn't circumcise his son. Now, look how God treats his leader. God doesn't lower the standards for Moses. Actually, God raises the stakes. God says, you're going to be the leader of this movement. You must obey my commands. One of the tragic things is when churches or people overlook how a preacher disobeys the simple commands of God. They say, well, he's doing great work, so we don't need to point that out. Or worse, these preachers, maybe they're making a killing off the ministry, they're getting rich, or maybe they're even abusing people sexually, and they'll say, well, you better not talk to me because I'm the Lord's anointed. But in the Bible, we see that leaders are to be judged stricter. So if you've come out of a church, or if you're in church now where the pastor is getting rich off ministry, or the pastor is using his authority to get sexual favors from someone, if you're coming out of a church where any of those things are happening, in some way, this pastor is using his position for evil. I want you to know that is not how we do things at Northside Neighborhood Church. And just like Moses, our pastors, our leaders are called to obey the simple commandments of God. Why? Because we fear the Lord. The Lord confronted Moses here because he didn't obey the command that all Israel should be circumcised and should have their son and their sons circumcised. Now, there's some questions on this passage. I know if you want to reach out, do so in the comments, or you can email me or text me, or however you have to contact me, and I'd be happy to send you some resources on that passage. At the end of chapter 5, we see after Moses went to Pharaoh and said, let my people go that we may worship in the wilderness, Pharaoh makes their work harder. He makes it almost impossible for them to do their work. He says to them, you cannot reduce your daily quota of bricks. You have to make the bricks with straw. And this is just an almost impossible workload for the Israelites. So in verse 20, we see that's the people of Israel, when they left Pharaoh, they confronted Moses and Aaron, who stood waiting to meet them. May the Lord take note of you and judge, they said to them. They're mad at Moses and Aaron because they're blaming Moses and Aaron for making their work harder. Moses and Aaron are rocking the boat here. They're confronting injustice. They're confronting the slave masters. And the slave masters now make Israel's work more difficult, their life more difficult. And so the people turn on Moses and Aaron. They grumble. And even Moses goes to the Lord and asks, Lord, why have you caused trouble for this people? Why did you ever send me? Ever since I went into Pharaoh to speak in your name, he has caused trouble for this people, and you haven't rescued your people at all. Look, it's harder to rock the boat. You know, it's harder sometimes to live as a Christian. Jesus provided the way of salvation for us, but salvation has not yet come. Heaven is not yet here. And Jesus says to us, pick up your cross and follow me. And sometimes we grumble. We say, oh, it was so much easier when I wasn't following the Lord, yet I could do whatever I felt like. I could do whatever my body felt like. I could be my own Lord, and that was easier. Avoid the temptation of grumbling because salvation is coming.